One thing that I really think is important, and this is in any field, is to really follow your passion. I know a lot of people get into different things because of the dollar signs or the potential for this or the potential for that. When I went to grad school, one of the first things my professor said is, you won't be a millionaire.
Is something called righteous frustration. And I think that's what, if we could define what you just said, righteous frustration led you to entrepreneurship because you were done wrong. If we are believers, Charity, we have a responsibility on how we navigate things. We can't navigate it just like Susie May. What blessed me out of what you said, Charity, is when you said, I woke up and I decided not to be angry anymore.
Hey, thank God for another day. Hey, I know we could be another way. Hey, pray. Thank God for another day. Hey, I know we could be another way.
Yo, it's your girl Jessica S. Smith, and you have entered the safe space where influencers can decompress, have fun, and guess what?
Just add.
Just add.
Oh, that was good.
That was a little
I like
bit.
that.
You like that a little bit?
Give him a little razzle dazzle.
A little razzle dazzle, everybody. But you know, I got my headphones on, and when I have my headphones on, you know, we got a virtual guest, and when you know how we got a virtual guest, you can't see Desiree. Desiree.
It's Thursday, y'all.
It is Thursday or whatever day you decided to.
Oh, yeah, whatever day you said. But today.
Whatever you decided to do on today.
Yeah.
You could have been anywhere else.
Could have been.
But you chose.
And we're grateful.
To come down this street, this avenue. Desiree, how you feeling, sis?
I'm good. That's a honest answer. Like it came out real fast, but it was true. Like, you know, I've been evaluating like these answers that I be giving because, you know, it's easy to say I'm good and you don't be good
and
for real.
Be good for real.
But I'm good. Blessed and highly favored.
Not the clock, sister.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I'm good, sis. How you feeling, Jess?
I'm nervous right now.
Yeah.
And you know when I get nervous.
You're nervous.
And I'm trembling.
Yeah.
Listen, I guess weak. But I'm nervous right now because the level of excellence that's about to enter this platform.
Oh, yeah.
She is a little saucy.
Yeah.
I am excited also because the guest that we have today, Desiree.
Yeah.
We went to school together.
Okay.
We went to the University of Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said it. Roll Tide.
Okay then.
Come try it if you want to.
Okay.
But we went to the University of Alabama. We graduated at the same time, and so just watching her develop and her grow has just been a blessing.
Yeah.
It's been a blessing just because, you know, baby, you feel like you in the trenches when you in school. And so like she did the work, she's executing, and she's living in purpose.
Yes.
On purpose. This young lady is a fashionista. The lady taught me how to do my eyebrows, Desiree. I didn't know what an eyebrow was until this lady taught me how to do an eyebrow.
Because that's important.
Like,
no eyebrows left behind.
No eyebrows left behind.
Come on.
But most importantly, outside of not only being a wife and a mother, she is in the profession. She's a BCBA, board certified behavioral analyst. Okay. So I had to let y'all know what that means because some people say it and we don't know what that means. But we're going to get into it today because she's going to teach us and we're going to learn from her because she has done the work.
Yeah.
We got to understand not only the aspect of behavior, but specifically she specializes in autism and understanding how to navigate those conversations. So I know me personally, my KJ has autism.
Yeah.
And then Creed, the nephew, has autism.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to learn from her. Really excited to delve into her intelligence. So I want to bring up the beautiful, the wonderful Charity Floyd. Girl, are you over there typing your life away?
No, I'm
Oh,
typing. I'm cracking up.
Oh. Why you laughing, girl?
Y'all are a mess. Y'all are a mess. I'm super, super excited that you invited me to be here. This is my first podcast. So you talking about you being nervous. Baby, I'm nervous.
Why
I
are
am
you
nervous.
nervous?
I don't know. I've never done anything like this. I get on and I talk my talk online. That's not formal, but I'm just super nervous. But I know it's gonna be a good time. I know you'll have some great questions for me. I just hope that I'm able to give you're offering this platform so that I can, talk, and I'm super excited, but I hope that I'm able to live up to your expectations.
It's gonna
Baby,
be
you are
good.
the
It's gonna be
expectations,
good.
okay? It's about to be great because we're about to have a conversation. One of the things I like about you, Charity, especially online, as I was doing my due diligence and just reviewing your content, because you're doing something different with like fashion and all that stuff like that, but your heartbeat is your passion for being that behavioral analyst and dealing with people. Providing an opportunity for people to learn more about the autism world, right? And I learned so much from you just watching, you just being vocal about it, you going into these different spaces and teaching on it. But one of the posts that you made, I think this was last year sometime, where you was like, hey, I'm just a girl from Georgia, Florida, Alabama, depending on who you ask. I'm just a girl that just, decided to do this and just passionate about this. I don't code switch. I don't do all these things that people want me to do. I'm just me and I'm living on purpose for purpose. How do you come to that resolve of I'm in this eloquent field, but I'm just gonna be her?
Absolutely. That is an amazing question, and something that I think in the beginning of my career, I struggled with a lot, just being myself and feeling like it's okay to show up as myself. I think in the beginning, kind of just going for it, like, what, let me just show up, let me just be myself and see if these opportunities are still going to present themselves. And they did. I also find that, there's beauty in authenticity, and people really understand when they feel and they hear me talk and they feel the passion that I have for this. Everything else doesn't matter anymore. How they present, how I present on the outside, that doesn't matter because they see the passion, they see my heart. So it's just been a blessing, and I will say, like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
And I that is why I'm so vocal online, is because I want people to understand that what you see, this is exactly how I show up. I know some things that I post are sometimes controversial, but I want people to know and understand, like, this is what I believe in, this is who I am, and when I show up, this is exactly what you're gonna get. Um, so yeah, I hope that answers the question. I don't plan to stop showing up as myself anytime soon.
Yeah.
But it has been a journey.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because, and I wanted to start with that space because, growing up, we were taught, especially as Black strong women, because you're a strong woman. You've all make this clear, Charity. We've always known what Charity thought. We've always been clear on where she stood. There was never any discretion about that. But you've been able to take that tool and be excellent in an area where you've been purposed for. And so how does that translate for you being a business, like you're over multiple businesses, but specifically I'm thinking about puzzling
Patterns.
patterns, puzzling patterns. Because let me tell y'all, serial entrepreneur. Let's get the serial entrepreneur. We got to talk about which business this the business we talking about. Okay, was that your actual first business?
My first business was Perfect Ponytail Palace. I was selling wraparound
Come
ponytails.
on.
I don't know if you remember. I did it
Yes.
for like 2 years, and it
Did you
did
I
well,
remember
but
that
did you
now.
curl it in the microwave?
it no, no, it was like innovative, and somebody done stole my business idea now
Oh man.
because I ain't doing it no. It was like a Velcro wraparound
Oh
ponytail,
yeah.
and that's all I sold, and it did really well. But I started puzzling patterns, and I just did not have the time. Like, and I'm all about excellence, so I wasn't trying to be sending nobody stuff out late, and
Yeah.
so I just had to stop. But that was my first business. But after that, puzzling patterns.
Okay, I forgot about that. Like as soon as you said, I was like, she did had a
Yep,
wraparound ponytails. I'm screaming.
I did.
So can let's back up. How do we get into wanting to help kids and develop children? Because your bachelor's in human development.
My bachelor's is in psychology, and undergrad is in human development and family studies. So if we kind of back up to the whole starting with children, because that's where it starts for me,
Mm-hmm.
is that even when I was younger, I always loved children. So I was the girl in church that's like, "Oh, can I hold your baby?" Like just loved children. And then to tie that with what my mom does, so she is a social worker, but her job is kind of unique in that she works with children with special needs, not directly,
Mm-hmm.
but organizing like things for soldiers who have kids and family members with special needs.
Mm.
So we would go to like bowling events and summer camp programs, and I would go and I would be around children with special needs. So that's where I was like, okay, love with just being around children with special needs. I
Mm-hmm.
can't tell you exactly what it was, but I just loved it. So I knew going into college that I wanted to somehow work with children with special needs. Um, was thinking about being a doctor, was like, nah, don't really want to do that. And then kind of just started looking up different developmental disabilities children, and everything that kept coming up is psychologist. So that's what I went to school for. I was like, I'm going to be a psychologist, a clinical psychologist. I started volunteering at Arts and Autism
Mm-hmm.
in Tuscaloosa. That's where I fell in love with children with autism. Okay. And so back then, if you were to Google autism, work with children with autism, the only thing that was going to come up is clinical psychologist. So changed my major to that. I was going to go to grad school. I was going to get my doctorate and be a clinical psychologist. But I always knew that what I'm reading about what a clinical psychologist does, like diagnose, and then maybe have like a 1 hour session where we sit and talk. I was like, man, that's not getting in the nitty gritty for me. Like, that's
Yeah.
not getting really doing the work, changing their lives. And ended up finding Auburn University's ABA program like a week before the applications were due, and had no clue what ABA was. Found it, applied, got in very rigorous and competitive program. I think about 1,000 applicants and only 12 people got in, and I was the only
Mm.
Black person. Got in that program. It was an intensive 1 year program. And when I say intensive, I mean intensive. I was very skinny and bald when I got out. But
Lord Jesus.
got out, and man, the rest is history. Like that's where kind of, so I want to say I gotta give kudos to arts and autism. I think that's where my love for children with autism started. That was not an ABA program. That was a, we are working with kids with autism, and we're just doing what we know. We had music
Yeah.
therapy, we're teaching them to cook, but I had no method behind my madness. It was just let me do what I think will work. But that's where that love came from.
That's so good. I'm glad allowing me to answer my questions a little
Oh,
eloquent
sorry.
on this episode. No, you're doing good. Your answers are so good and so needed because it was I saw a post yesterday and it was then like a then versus now post, and the lady was explaining how we even when we were growing up, how we attacked or manage the autism world differently than we manage it now. Like she was like, oh, she was pointing at like this picture or whatever, like this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, versus being more interactive with the child. And one of the things I learned
Mm-hmm.
about your program is that you treat every child differently. And so I'm interested in knowing about this ABA therapy, or is it ABA therapy, or is it a program?
Mm-hmm.
Like how does that, what
ABA
does that
therapy.
mean? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. So ABA, it stands for Applied Behavior Analysis. And what I like to tell people is that ABA is just like a set of principles that you use to teach behavior, to decrease behaviors that are problematic, to teach skills. It is not tied to just autism. Unfortunately, insurance we know insurance, especially in the climate that we're in,
Hmm.
is going to always try to figure out a way to not pay. And they're going to limit, okay, you have to have this, you have to have that for us to pay for that. And so, unfortunately, most insurance companies will only pay for it if they have an autism diagnosis. But you can use ABA to change your own behavior. So, there are behavior analysts who work in fitness, who work in big corporations to change staff behavior.
Mm.
There are behavior analysts that work with animals at like a zoo to teach them how to do specific things. Um, People who train dogs, they're using ABA, right? So it's
Wow.
not, yeah, it's not, it's just a set of principles that you use to teach whatever you need to teach. But my particular field is working with children on the autism spectrum, or teachers or providers, parents. But it is not anything that is only tied to, just children with autism. Now, my clinic particularly, we work from age of diagnosis to 18, and we provide what I call comprehensive services. So most of my kids are getting 20 to 40 hours a week. That's because our goal is, after a couple of years, they're leaving us. ABA is not a forever thing. I want them to go to school, and not need us anymore. But we primarily are focusing on, reducing maladaptive behaviors and helping them increase skills across all domains. So social skills, self-help skills, language, anything that they really need. If I have a kid that comes in and hey, mom goes, hey, he got new glasses and he won't wear them. We'll write a program from scratch to teach him how to wear his glasses,
What?
or yeah, yeah. Or I have a kid that's like so terrified every time I turn on an animated movie. We'll write a program to, desensitize so that you can watch an animated movie at the movie theater and without freaking out. So you tell me what you need. I'll take these principles, develop a program to teach you that.
So this is on a line on attached to them going to like school, like to learn, or do you is this their school? Like,
So, yep. So I have a lot of kids that are not old enough for school yet. So,
okay.
age of diagnosis, my youngest kid I ever had was 18 months, right? So, age of diagnosis. But what I do is, school is obviously where I want the kiddo, right? But sometimes, I don't know if you've been in self-contained classrooms. I can walk in a classroom and I can say, this kid is not even benefiting from being here because they do not have the prerequisite skills necessary to learn, right? So, what's the point of you being here if you actually can't even sit down for 3 seconds,
Hmm.
right? So, in that, in case by case, I'll do an assessment. Sometimes that assessment is only in clinic. Sometimes I need to go observe the kid at home, or I need to go observe them at school. And I might say, hey, we're going to pull them from school for X amount of time. We're going to work on these specific goals, and then we're going to push them back in school, right? And then I might have some kids that their level of autism is so high that school can just not accommodate their needs for the foreseeable future, and we pull them. And it is a medical service. So, we write a letter and excusing them from school. Technically, they're still enrolled, but they attend ABA. They have their one-to-one therapist that is all day, that is focused on implementing their treatment plan.
So with that case, with the last case that you talked about, are y'all working with the school? Like, are y'all still submitting like the work that they need to do to graduate, or how does that work out?
I would only ever do that for a kid that is in self-contained. And that means that really no. So they're not giving us any work. They're excused because self-contained, after a certain year in school, it's kind of like you go and then you graduate and they give you a certificate, but it's not a high school diploma that now I can take and go on to college, right? Now, if I am working with a kid where I'm like, no, in a couple of years or in a couple of months, like I want to titrate them back, we do work with the school. We go to all of our kids' IEP meetings
Mm-hmm.
so that we can make sure that their IEP goals, they're translated. And the reality is we usually can teach it faster because they have a one-to-one,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's literally only responsible for them the whole day. So they are going to acquire those skills much faster than if they're in a classroom with one teacher and 15 kids that all have different IEPs.
That makes
Does that
sense.
make sense?
No, that makes sense. And that's why I have you here, because it's so many, it's more and more people that I'm learning about now that we have the right language, now that we have better resources and the algorithm does what it needs to do for us to find out
Mhm.
things. And we have people like you speaking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I'm still learning how to, because I want to be the best aunt, the best sister to KJ and Creed, and know that they might not be like so far off the spectrum, but they still have it. Like, how do I adjust myself? So, with that said, like, what does it look like to support not only the child but the family? So, what tools do you give the families for children dealing with autism?
Absolutely. So, you got two sets, right? So, I have my parents of children that I service. In their treatment, parent training is included, right? So, not only included, it's required. My parents
Mm-hmm.
have to come to parent training at least once per month. In those parent trainings, I am teaching them the strategies, the things that's working here in the clinic. I'm teaching them that, and I'm teaching them exactly how to do it. I'm also allowing my parents to brain dump, to come in and be like, look, he started doing this. What do I do? I'm coaching them on this is how you need to be thinking. I'm basically reprogramming their mind to think how I think as a behavior analyst when I see a behavior, right? But those are the kids that are already getting therapy. The biggest issue is I have a wait list of 200 kids, 200 plus kids. What about those kids? Right? What about those kids and how do we help those parents? So, a series that I started and I'm going to pick it back up this year is called While You Wait. And it is targeting the parents who are waiting for services. Okay, I'm on a wait list. What do I do while I wait? And this is me giving strategies to be able to, and they can only be general strategies because ethically, I can't tell you exactly what to do with your child when I don't know your child. I have not done an assessment. I cannot do that, but I can give you some general strategies and general tips that should help to teach you things while you're waiting for that individualized service.
That's good. I think that it's needed as well. Um, I think this is good. So now I'm curious about, we've talked about your program. We talked about how they help the families, but now I'm curious about Charity Woman. Cherry the woman manages a lot. Like I said earlier, you're serial entrepreneur. You cater to families. I can't even just say children, but you cater to families that are discovering this new level of autism and just navigating that. I wonder how you balance it all. Like, how do you navigate being a business owner, being a serial entrepreneur, being a wife, being a mother? How does Charity manage it all, and who takes care of Charity?
Great question. I've been trying to figure that out myself. Um, so I'm gonna start by saying who you marry matters. Okay. I married a wonderful man that allows Charity to do a new thing every 2 days without complaining. So if that means he eating a TV dinner 3 times this week, then he not complaining. That means that sometimes it means he's getting home cooked meals. Sometimes it means he is so supportive in everything that I do. I'm not a single married mother. So,
Mm,
my son is with him right now. So I know some people are like, oh, well, what do you do about your kid? I got a husband who's a dad and wants to be a dad, right?
yeah.
Um, my ABA clinic is in Georgia and I started that and my home is in Florida. I started that ABA clinic before we had a kid, but I was newly married and I was spending the whole week away from him. So you can guess what that means, right? And I
Yeah.
was tired when I came back because I was working, 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 working. So I just having a supportive system around you. I could not do this without that. Right. And then systems. I'm really big on systems and I don't just jump into things. So anything that you see me launching has been well thought out. Anything that could be automated has been automated. Um, and I've done the legwork before anybody sees it. So having systems in place, having a team in place, a team that I train properly vetted. I don't just hire anybody. My family and friends will be like, "Don't go work there at Charity or fire anybody," because look, I run a strict program.
And I
Listen,
believe it.
I run a strict program, and the standard that I have, everybody on my team, they know that standard. And if you're not upholding that standard, you gotta go. So having those things in place really allow me to just have the time, right? And so I'm able to take care of myself and still have time to work out and do the things that I love because of the leg work that I did before launching, before opening up. And then also like moving with intention and moving slow. Everybody's like, when are you going to open another clinic? You have a wait list of this. And I'm like, never, never, because I need to be able to get there, be there if something is going on. I don't want to have 50 clinics all over the United States and then the quality of service diminish,
Mm.
right? So systems and having a supportive system around you, supportive people around you is next to none when it comes to really being able to take care of yourself as well. And I'm not going to say I always prioritize me because that's not the truth. I don't. I do prioritize the people around me and, making sure my businesses are taken care of. But I still do have time for me. And it's not like I'm just drowning every day.
Yeah. So with you living in Florida and because I saw that, I was like, they got the wrong address on here.
Yeah.
I was trying to say, I was about to say, Charity, y'all, you still got the Georgia address. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that you're still like traveling to do that. So what's a typical week look like for you? And the reason, and I'm about to be very clear, because we have
Mhm.
women that uh, it's Women's History Month, right? And so we have women that aspire to do these things, but they feel like it's not attainable to do. And so bringing
Mhm.
language and clarity to what that looks like, I feel like is important. So you have these multiple businesses, two of which, because Street Sensory is about to be in Georgia too, right?
Mhm.
And so like you have these strong businesses that are flourishing. One is still got Street Sensory is not open yet.
Yeah. So Play at Sensory Street is opening in the next maybe the construction is being done right now. Probably in the
Yeah.
next like I hate giving timelines. They've been blowing my
It's
phone
opening
up, but I would say
soon.
six to
It
eight
look
weeks. Yeah.
it's opening soon. But okay,
Yeah.
so with that, what does a typical week look like for you when you're navigating these businesses?
Absolutely. Also, I do want to shout out, I have an assistant too. Her name is Carla, and she actually lives in the Philippines. She's been with me since 2018. She does
Mm.
a lot of my background work. So I want to say that is a big part of things as well. But typical week, right? So let's just say last week I went down every day. And I do have somewhere that I can stay in Georgia as well, but I don't always do that because my baby's in daycare close to our home. So I'll wake up early. My husband will, help get the baby ready. I'll drop the baby off on my way to Georgia. I'll go to Georgia. I like to be there before or right when the clinic is opening. If I'm on the floor that week, or if I'm actually like in the clinic, not that week, that day, this could be supervising technicians, meeting with my two supervisors that are there in the clinic at all times. This could be working directly with clients. Um, if I'm in my office, it could be communicating with insurances, it could be writing treatment plans, it could be meeting with my accountant, all the background stuff. Last week it was supervising Play at Sensory Street. So going there, going to get things that the contractors needed, coming back and forth. Do all of that, have to wrap up. Could be meetings with schools as well, and parent trainings with parents. When I wrap up, I need to be back to get my baby before daycare closes, and I don't like for him to be the last one. So I get him, and just depending, I found the gym that we go to has daycare. So if I want to go to the gym, I can take him with me. He can go to the little daycare, and then we come home. I get him dinner, get him cleaned up, and then he goes to bed. So that's day to day. So in a week, I could be going back and forth every day. If I'm working from the home,
Mm-hmm.
then anytime I'm working from home, I always have the cameras up. I'm watching on the cameras, the clinics. I could be doing some supervision there,
Mm.
and in background billing. So we work with insurance, so we have to bill insurance. Sometimes claims are denied for whatever reasons. Following up on denied claims, interviews for new employees. So it can be a lot. It can be a lot of back and forth. But again, I do have supervisors there that I've trained to do some things as well. So like let's just say I've done an interview and then they're coming in for their second interview. I don't necessarily need to be there for that. I can have a person, I can have a supervisor, have that person come in, give them a tour, do the part two of the interview. And I don't make major decisions like who we're going to hire by myself. I always include my leadership team in that. So I like for them to kind of get an idea of the new employee or potential new employee
What's your
before
why
we make.
behind it? Because I was just about to
So,
say something, and you just made the point. What's your why behind it?
so I think it's not that I don't trust myself, right? But I trust my team. And sometimes people can see things that you don't see,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sometimes people can, it's like getting a second opinion. And what I tell my team, so something else unique that I have is that everybody that comes on board is on a 90-day probationary period. After 90 days, everybody that has already passed their 90 days votes. We have a form and it asks different questions about our core values. And then the final question is, do you recommend this person to be a permanent part of the team? Right? You can't just put no, I don't like her hair. You know, you can't just put something crazy like that. It has to be something of substance. But everybody has to vote yes, and people forget about that, right? But the reality is, every single person knows the standard, right? And everybody knows that our goal is that everybody that comes in here makes it past their 90 days. So if somebody's not upholding that standard, and I keep in mind, I've never had a time where only one person has voted no. It's very one band, one sound. If I got one no, I know more coming,
Mm.
right? So what it does is it spreads that accountability for everybody. We're all responsible for who comes in this door. And I'm really big about the culture of puzzling patterns being positive. You spend so much time at work that I can't have somebody in there that's messing up the culture. Right. And so we're all responsible for making sure when we all make that decision together, we can't blame one person. Y'all not just blaming Charity. We all said yes. It's all of our
Mm.
fault.
So it's almost
Right.
like you're doing that is making them more invested in what it is, because I think, and it's just a leadership thing. Like once people become more invested and they feel like their voice matters, they care about what they're doing across the board. And this is not just with charities business, that's with any business. So if you saying, and I think people as leaders, just speaking from a leadership standpoint, are afraid to activate the voices of their people. But you're saying
Mhm.
like the reason why I do it is because it makes them invested into what I have going on, and I need them to do that because now I can make sure that the clients and the families are properly taken care of. I think that's brilliant.
I'm telling you, even policies, right? So if there is a policy, something that we have that's just not working, I come to our team meeting every 2 months, and I say, okay, y'all, this isn't working. We got this policy. This is what it is. You know, your session notes are supposed to be here at this time. They're getting to me, 2 days late. What are we going to do about it? We make our policies together. Like there is very small, like you can probably count on one hand the amount of times that I've had to make like an executive decision by myself, and I'm like, y'all, this is what it is. Everything else, I'm like, what do y'all suggest? And we come up with the policy together. I draft it, I send it out. Hey, everybody, how this look? And that's how policies are implemented. So it's like y'all chose. So now if somebody is getting written up, which is very rare, because this is the policy y'all chose.
Mm.
We voted on this. So that's the other beauty of just not having investors or not having a big corporation and having multiple is that we get to make our decisions together. I don't have to ask nobody nothing. I make the decisions with my team.
That's so good. With you being an established business owner, I think I think people think that people wake up or just knew from jump that they wanted to do this. And I found that you stumble upon entrepreneurship. Can we talk about that?
Oh gosh, yes. How much time you got?
How did
Man,
Charity know
man,
that
man.
she needed to create a space like this?
Yeah, so puzzling patterns came out of a huge unfortunate situation that I have never talked about anywhere else because I have been trying to figure out how to talk about it without impacting anybody else because that's not, my goal.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try to make a long story short in that my original goal was never to open a clinic. In addition to working with the kids, I'm also passionate about training the upcoming BCBAs. I want there to be good BCBAs who come after me. And so my ultimate goal was to have kind of like an agency that mainly focused on training BCBAs.
Hmm.
And then we would send these BCBAs out to these rural areas that, look, to be honest, nobody's moving to Sweetwater, Alabama. Like, but there are autistic kids in Sweetwater, Alabama, and who's gonna help them? So I was gonna send them there, kind of like you go on assignment, and then you come back. That was my ultimate goal. Two ladies contacted me that were in Georgia. Neither were BCBAs, and they wanted to open ABA clinics, but they didn't have a BCBA. You have to have a BCBA to bill for services for ABA. So I agreed to be that BCBA. I helped them start every single thing, any kind of documents, insurance, credentialing, all of that stuff went through me, but it's not my business to be very clear. Started providing services, ended up catching one of the ladies engaging in billing fraud with my license. Okay. Um, the thing about it is, and I learned a very hard lesson, is that when you work for people that are not certified through your board, they can never be held accountable for your board because the board doesn't care about anybody but their certificates. They don't care about anybody else. They care about who they certify, right? So though they technically are my supervisors, it's their business. I'm responsible for anything clinical that goes wrong or not
Hmm.
following any ethics, even if I didn't do it. So immediately terminated services as far as telling her you can no longer bill with my license, but agreed to continue providing services, but just you can't bill insurance for it. You do have to pay me for it, but you can bill insurance just so that I can make sure I properly transfer cases. Well, she reported me to the board for abandoning clients. And obviously I fought that. They found me like not guilty of anything she said, but they tacked on something, which was me not keeping in contact with the parents of one of the clients I served with her, which was true. I did not keep in contact because the father died by suicide like 2 weeks after we started services, and mom just kind of went ghost. So I just said, you know what, the parent training part, I'm gonna put that on the back burner for right now because y'all got a lot going on. In hindsight, I probably should have still just emailed and let them know whenever just so I had a track record for me trying to reach out. So I ended up having to do 6 months of mentorship with somebody who was a BCBA for 5 years. Um, I could have lost my license, like behind that. I was devastated. I One of the ladies kept all of my assessment material. Both of them combined owe me to this day about $8,000. A close family member, really close family member, wanted to sue them on my behalf. And I thought about it. And then one day I woke up because I was angry. I was so angry because I did this to help them. One day I woke up and I said, I'm not going to be mad anymore. I just
Mm.
made an active decision to not be angry anymore. And I said, I'm going to talk to this lady that I have to talk to every month. I'm going to ask her questions. I'm going to learn. I'm going to just pick her brain because I have to. I'm paying for it. So I might as well. And I also told this close family member that I'm also not going to sue them. I'm going to let them keep everything. They don't have to pay me any money. Um, I'm just gonna be done with it, right? And I just decided to not be angry. And in that, I decided to start puzzling patterns because I said, well, I still want to service kids in a rural area. That's why my clinic is in Hinesville, Georgia, and not Jacksonville, Florida. Um, and I started in a daycare, but I only started because I couldn't do what I wanted to do with these two ladies. Now, in hindsight, I believe this was God's plan for me all along. Like I just feel like I had to go through that because what I learned in that situation has helped me so much in my business now that I almost feel like I need to call them and say thank you. Um, but I talk to that close family member all the time, and I say, you know what? It's crazy. You wanted me to sue them for them like $8,000, and if I look at my business now, like I really believe that if I would have like pursued that, I would not be where I am. Multiple businesses. We owned our commercial building where both of our businesses is ours. We have two renters. We don't puzzling patterns, play at Central Street. We don't need for anything. That doesn't happen if I didn't wake up one day and say, I'm not gonna be angry anymore. I'm gonna do what I have to do. And then I'm gonna start this business. I'm gonna do what God put me on this earth to do. Um, so that's how Charity got to starting a business. Never my plan, but I truly believe it was always God's plan.
Girl, you said, girl, girl. Can we pause and just praise the Lord right
Girl.
there? My
Man,
goodness,
I'm telling you.
because there is something called righteous frustration, and I think that's what, if we could define what you just said, righteous frustration led you to entrepreneurship because
Hmm.
you were done wrong. And we just had a conversation not too long ago, Desiree and I were talking about, we don't get, if we're believers, right, Charity? You know, I've always been in the faith and always been vocal about my faith. So
Yep, love that.
if if we are believers, Charity, we have a responsibility on how we navigate things. We can't navigate it just like Susie May. We can't navigate that like, oh, I gotta act off my emotions. And what blessed me out of what you said, Charity, is when you said, I woke up and I decided not to be angry anymore. What? Do you know what that means, Charity? That means that you took the power that God has invested in you and you said, you know what, emotion, lay down.
Yep.
Emotion, I'm not doing this today. Emotion, you won't have authority over me. Emotion, I got a future and a plan that's been predestined for me. So you can sit down. You can
Yeah.
stay over there anger. But what I'm about to do is say, you know what? That $8,000, you can have that. You can also have everything else. I blessed you with the time I blessed you with. And now it's time for me to bless others. That's what I heard. That's
Yep.
exactly what I heard. And it's so motivational for you to even just, I don't think, and I'm saying this out loud because I don't think you know what you just said. Like, I
Probably
don't
not.
think,
I've been
no,
saying it for years, but man,
I don't
I'm
think
telling
you
you.
understand the faith behind that. The faith to say, you know what, I'm not going to be angry no more. How much power
Yeah.
resides in that and how much it has led you to your promised land.
Absolutely. Oh, now one thing that I do, when I do talk to people about this, I always say that that one decision I do think changed the entire trajectory of my life, just deciding to not be mad. And the decision was so like, it wasn't even, it's like I woke up and I said, I'm done. Like I'm done. And I was harboring so much anger in my heart because I had done something with good intentions, great intentions. I mean, I was doing services for them. How insurance works is you don't always get paid real quick after
Mm-hmm.
you do the services, right? So instead of me saying, okay, but y'all got to pay me, on biweekly, I said, just wait until insurance pays y'all and then y'all can pay me. So I was traveling there. So I felt so betrayed. I They were supposed to put me up in a hotel. I stayed at one of their houses to save them money. These are women who have established businesses already in other fields. I was just a baby BCBA. So I just felt so taken advantage of. And, I was, like you said, I was angry. I was hurt. But when I woke up that day, I almost feel like that one day, it was just like flip. Like
Yeah.
my heart felt, I felt lighter and everything changed. Everything changed. So yeah, I approach so many things like that now, things that are supposed to make me angry. I go back to that moment. Like, remember what happened when you decided to not be angry?
Mm.
Remember what happened when you didn't let that lay on your heart? Your life changed. So it's very hard for me to stay angry for a long time.
Wow.
Very hard.
That is, would you say that's different from your 10 year, well, Charity 10 years ago?
Man,
I know the answer.
girl. And the thing is now, some people will sometimes confuse me being vocal and like talking about things I disapprove of with being angry, but trust and believe.
Trust and
I don't care
believe.
what you see me right, and if I'm debating, I love a good debate. I love a good debate. I'm never angry. I could debate with somebody and I see them. I don't harbor anger in my heart. I don't.
Hmm.
And that is not Charity from 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's not. That was and if I could tell anybody, like young people, d- don't be angry. Just don't be angry. Things that happen, just things you can't change. That was the thing for me. It's like you walk around mad still, and it's already done. So it's different.
It's
Yes.
different. But the thing about it is your delivery, even your presence. Um, there's a piece about you. There's a piece about you. It seems like you're at peace with your marriage, you're at peace being a mother, you're at peace with your business, you're just at peace with yourself. Just the encounter that I'm having with you right now, like we was talking about before we started recording, like we haven't seen each other in years, talked in years, and people can get stuck in the identity they knew you as versus giving you room for where you've grown. And there is definitely growth there. And I know that wasn't easy because I know there are some things. Oh, bye, bye, bye. Oh, there are some things. There are some things that Jessica has had to rid of, apologize to herself for, apologize to others for, and just giving people room to grow is very important to me, to show that they have developed in a space. And so I'm proud of you, girl. Like,
Thank you,
I'm
man.
proud of you,
It's been a
girl.
journey. It's been a journey. It's gonna continue being a journey. I always say this, I think a lot of Black women have this story as well. I wasn't raised in a house with a mama who apologized,
Mm,
right? So I love my mom. My mom loves me, but like just the culture sometimes of like you just doing people wrong, just be like, girl, my bad. What was I thinking? Like, that just wasn't something. And so I had to teach myself those things. Even accountability. Those were things that I had to teach myself on. Being accountable is not being weak, right? Apologizing is not being weak. And again, when I say that wasn't me so long ago, it wasn't. I had to teach myself that, I would say probably, what year are we in? I'll say it
26.
probably started 2018, 2020. Yeah, probably 2018. Just being more accountable, doing self reflection, being like, if everybody is saying this about you, Charity, everybody ain't lying.
Yeah.
Like, everybody ain't lying. So you might want to do some self reflection. Um, so yeah.
No, I think that I think the best thing, just developing as a woman, like there's no manual for this, right? There's no manual, especially I can imagine if your mama didn't apologize, she also didn't have the gift of letting you know certain things or being vulnerable, right? Apologies require a level of vulnerability and transparency, and that's what people don't want to do. They don't want to show that they're quote unquote weak, but it's not really weakness. I found strength in being transparent and vulnerable. Thank you, Holy Spirit. What I'm hearing to tell you now, I gotta be obedient. I heard the Lord say, "Tell the story, Charity. Tell the story." And it's because you are the woman that you are now, and you've developed in that, and you've been able to maneuver, and you're not angry. You don't have language for anger. So when you tell your story, it's not going to sound like you're bashing anybody because it's coming from
Mhm.
you. Your language is connected to who you are, not where you've been. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Holy Spirit.
That's good.
That your language now, and I even see you writing a book. I don't know if you're in the process of writing a book. I don't know if you've been told that, but I almost called you author when I introduced you, because I really feel like even people need to see you in written form. And so I even pray for you right now in that, to where, because you're so prepared, you're like, Lord, how would I navigate that? There are tools, just like you use tools for your business to operate. I believe God will present you tools and avenues to be able to do that. You have a very unique story, and your voice and your language is needed for a time such as this. So I want to be obedient and and put that
I
out
receive it.
and put that out there, like, bam. Okay. But Desiree have been over here shaking her leg, girl. So I'm gonna let her say something, because this has been, I've learned so much sitting here talking to you, and I feel like I want to talk to you more. Like, dog, I got a question.
Yes, please ask.
Yeah.
I love questions. I love them. Please ask.
No, this has been really good. What was, as I was listening, the Lord was just reminding me. I don't know, He does this a lot, about the importance of Jeremiah 29:11. Right, we say it a lot. Almost kind of cliche. Just come out really, really simple. But if we really understand what it's saying, the Lord is saying, "Hey, I have a plan for you." Right, the plan was already set before you even made it to the earth. Right, and a lot of times when we make it here, we journey through life. We have life experiences. We get interested in things and stuff like that. But I think we talked about this just a couple of episodes ago about the suffering, right? Like, that comes along with the life that we live. But the beautiful thing is that God uses everything, and so it sounds like he already knew where you were headed. He just used a moment that was unfortunate, that hurt, that that had the opportunity to set up some bitterness. But what it did was it just projected you into the path that He had already set out for you. And so now you're walking this path. You're being obedient. You're doing the things that was already set out for you. And because of that one moment, the decision that you made to not be bitter in that moment, God was like, "Hi, I can trust her now." And in that,
Yes.
He began to just to open the doors. And so it's been really beautiful just to listen. And even in the space that you're in, it's so needed. I think we're getting more language now to a lot of diagnoses that's happening with our children and things like that. And to have people that have a heart, that have the heart of the Father. It's one thing to, just be interested in things. Yeah, this is cool, but to have the heart of the Father, and you can tell that by the standard that you set with your team, how you choose to operate your business. Like, that's a level of excellence that everybody does not have, and it's needed in this space because of how sensitive the area is that you're working in. So I just thank you for your obedience, and just for sharing your story. Like Jess said, like, the story needs to be heard, because there's so many women specifically out there who they're wrestling with this thing, right? That the Lord, that they know that they're supposed to be doing, but they're like, I don't know how to do this because I don't have the time, blah blah blah. Well, baby, we just heard from somebody that live in Florida, that's driving like multiple times a week with a baby, with a husband, with multiple businesses. She's a woman, she's probably in other things as well, and she's doing it by the grace of God. So just thank you for
That's the
coming
only
on to
reason.
the platform and sharing your voice with us today.
Thank y'all so much for having me. This has been a wonderful conversation. I don't know. Wait, I'm saying that like we done. Are we done?
Well, we're towards
Okay.
the end, because if I ask you another question, we gonna be gone for like 2 hours. Like, now we try to keep it to where, like, people, because it's always a way to come back. Okay,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
always a way to come back.
Yeah.
And so, Charity, I just want to reiterate what has already been said. Like, I'm genuinely proud of you. I am
thank you. I'm
genuinely
proud
proud
of
of you.
you.
Like,
You
you're
are
doing
killing it out here.
you are doing some phenomenal things, and I'm just so grateful that you gave Just Ask a Yes. And then just to find out this is your first podcast, which I kind of figured it, because I was like, oh, she ain't got no interviews or anything like that. So
Yeah. Yeah,
in my
somebody
research.
had asked me about a couple months ago, and I just got like so busy. But I'm actually doing one with her next week, so
Awesome.
I got like two back to back.
Come
But
on.
yeah, I'm super excited. This is great. I love chatting. I love talking. So this is good to catch up and share a little bit of my story.
Yes, because it's only a little bit. That's the gag. It is only a little bit. So, Charity,
Yes.
as a tradition on Just Ask, we like to give our guest the final word. And if there was something that we didn't say or something that you want to make sure they leave with, the time is now to reflect on that.
Ooh. Um, oh goodness. Let me think. Is this just supposed to be anything?
Yeah,
Like,
anything that's on your heart.
okay. I don't know. Y'all gonna have to edit this part out
No,
because I think
we
I
don't
said
edit. We don't edit.
no.
This is real and raw.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I really, I don't know. I really don't know what to say that I haven't already said. Um, I'll say this. One thing that I really think is important, and this is in any field, is to really follow your passion. I know a lot of people get into different things because of the dollar signs or the potential for this or the potential for that. And when I went to grad school, one of the first things my professor said is, you won't be a millionaire. You won't make a whole bunch of money from being a BCBA, like from being a BCBA and working in a clinic. That's what he said. Um, I didn't receive that. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I didn't get in it for that, right? So I didn't say, well, let me get out of school because I need to make a whole bunch of money. I continue to follow the path that I truly believe was designed for me because I love this work, not because of the money. And I'll just say, I think I proved him out to be
A liar.
Liar.
a lie.
Uh-huh.
I think that, I've done exceptionally well, and that's not because of anything other than following the path that I know God designed for me and following my passion. So with anything, I don't care if it's being a garbage man, be the best garbage man you can be,
Come
and you
on.
might be over a garbage man and now you a millionaire, right?
Yeah, that's so
So
good.
follow it and follow, what you are truly passionate about, and the money will come, the other things will come.
Amen. That follow the passion. Listen, this has been, I hope you guys take account to what she has told us today. She's taught us a lot. She taught us about leadership. She's taught us about using the tools to navigate and balance our life. She's taught us about not being angry. Anger is a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she landed with allowing us to remember to follow the passion and not the dollar sign. And so, listen, I'm going to be able to feast on this one for a while because it just motivated me that much. And so I hope you guys, y'all digest this. Leave in a comment. Tell me what you learned today because I know I learned a lot. But until next week, until next time, remember, life could be much more simple if you just ask.
What's up, you guys? We hope you've enjoyed that conversation, but make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification so you don't miss an episode. We'll see you next Thursday.